How many times have you found yourself in a situation where you knew deep down that a relationship was holding you back? Think about it. How often have you clung to someone, even when every part of you was screaming to let go? Maybe it's a friend, a partner, or even a family member who constantly drains your energy and leaves you questioning your own worth. We've all been there, afraid to cut ties, worried about the judgment of others, or the guilt that comes with walking away. But here's the truth. Sometimes, the most empowering thing you can do for yourself is to walk away silently. No drama, no confrontation, just peace. In this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful lessons that will help you recognize toxic relationships, understand the cost of clinging to them, and most importantly, how to cut them off gracefully to reclaim your peace and step into your full potential. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll walk away with the clarity and courage to prioritize your well-being and create the life you truly deserve. Number 1. Understanding toxic relationships. Let's pause for a moment and reflect deeply. What is a relationship? At its core, a relationship should be a space where 2 individuals come together to uplift one another, to support growth, and to share life's joys and challenges. But when a relationship begins to erode your sense of self, when it drains your energy and dims your spirit, it's no longer a relationship. It's a burden. The Stoics teach us to value our peace above all else. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." But how often do we forget this simple wisdom? How often do we hold on to people who don't serve our highest good, all because we fear what life might look like without them? Let's be honest, letting go isn't easy. Toxic relationships have a way of wrapping themselves around our lives, often disguised as love, loyalty, or obligation. A critical friend might claim their harshness is for your own good. A manipulative partner might say their control is born out of care. A demanding family member might guilt you into believing that saying no means you're ungrateful. But here's the truth the Stoics remind us of. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. It's not what they say or do that binds us. It's our interpretation, our fear, and our unwillingness to challenge the narrative. Ask yourself, why do you stay in relationships that diminish your sense of self? Often, it's because of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, or fear of conflict. The Stoics were no strangers to fear, but they understood that fear is a poor master. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about this. Is it not an act of courage to choose solitude over suffering, to choose peace over chaos, to choose growth over stagnation? The Stoics believed in living a life aligned with virtue, and staying in a toxic relationship is not virtuous. It's self-sabotage. Now, let's consider what a toxic relationship really is. It's not just about arguments or dramatic moments. It's about patterns. Patterns of criticism that chip away at your confidence. Patterns of disrespect that leave you questioning your worth. And patterns of neglect that make you feel unseen and unheard. These patterns take root slowly, but over time, they become a force that stifles your growth. Picture this: a tree planted in poor soil, surrounded by weeds that steal its nutrients. That tree can't thrive. It can't reach its full potential because it's being suffocated by its environment. You are that tree, and toxic relationships are the weeds. If you want to grow, truly grow, you must tend to your soil. You must remove the weeds, even if it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar. But here's where the Stoic mindset becomes essential. The Stoics believed in accepting reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. You might wish that the friend who constantly belittles you would change. You might hope that the partner who doesn't respect your boundaries would suddenly see the light. But Stoicism reminds us to separate what is within our control from what is not. You cannot control the actions of others, Epictetus reminds us, but you can control how you respond. So, how do you respond? You start by recognizing that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some are lessons, not lifetimes. When a relationship teaches you what you don't want, when it shows you what drains you instead of fuels you, it has served its purpose. Clinging to it out of fear only prolongs your suffering. This isn't about anger or bitterness. The Stoics would never advise cutting someone off with malice in your heart. Instead, it's about choosing peace for yourself and ultimately for them. When you walk away from toxicity, you're not just freeing yourself, you're allowing the other person the opportunity to reflect and grow in their own way. The courage to leave a toxic relationship begins with self-respect. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. If a relationship doesn't align with this principle, it's time to reevaluate its place in your life. Toxic relationships keep you trapped in cycles of negativity, but the Stoics teach us that life is about flourishing, about living in accordance with nature, about finding harmony within yourself and with the world around you. You cannot flourish in soil that suffocates your roots. You cannot grow in the shadow of someone who dims your light. So I ask you, as the Stoics might, are you ready to choose courage over comfort? Are you ready to prioritize your peace over your fear? Remember, letting go is not a loss. It's a liberation. It's an act of self-love, an acknowledgement that your well-being is worth protecting. Number 2, the cost of clinging. Every moment you cling to a toxic relationship, you're trading a piece of yourself for a situation that doesn't serve you. It's a silent exchange. Your peace, your growth, your happiness, all slipping away as you hold on. But why? Why do we persist in relationships that drain us? The answer often lies in fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, or fear of breaking the bonds we've spent so long building. Yet, as the Stoics remind us, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. And isn't life about more than just enduring the company of those who hurt us? Let's examine this more deeply. Toxic relationships come with a heavy cost. They steal your time, yes, but they also steal something far more valuable: your emotional and mental well-being. Think about it. How often have you left an interaction with someone feeling completely depleted? How often have you replayed a hurtful conversation in your mind, losing hours to overthinking and self-doubt? These moments accumulate, and over time, they rob you of the energy you could be using to grow, to create, to thrive. Imagine this scenario. You're holding onto a rope tied to a sinking ship. The water is pulling it down, and the harder you hold on, the more it drags you into the depths with it. The Stoics would tell you to let go, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger and grief than the causes of them, Marcus Aurelius wrote. And isn't that true of toxic relationships? The act of letting go may seem painful, but the cost of clinging is far greater. What exactly is this cost? First, there's the loss of your happiness. You can't pour joy into your life when you're constantly pouring your energy into damage control. Toxic relationships thrive on conflict and negativity, and staying in one means you're stuck in a constant state of defense. How can you pursue what makes you happy when you're always bracing for the next argument or insult? Next, there's the toll on your growth. Life is about progress, about striving to become the best version of yourself. But toxic relationships are like anchors. They hold you in place, or worse, drag you backward. Think about the mental energy you expend just to maintain these relationships. What could you accomplish if you redirected that energy toward your passions, your goals, or even your own self-discovery? The Stoics were firm believers in the importance of growth and alignment with nature's purpose. Seneca wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it. Yet when you cling to toxicity, you're not using your life, you're wasting it. You're investing in something that will never yield a return, like planting seeds in barren soil and expecting them to bloom." Then there's the emotional cost. Toxic relationships have a way of making you question your worth. The constant criticism, manipulation, or neglect can wear down even the strongest of spirits. You might start to believe the negative narratives these relationships feed you, internalizing their toxicity as your own. Over time, this erodes your confidence, leaving you doubting your value and your ability to stand on your own. But here's where the Stoic perspective becomes transformative. The Stoics teach us that external circumstances don't determine our inner peace. Our perception does. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." What if you stopped seeing letting go as a loss and started seeing it as a liberation? What if you viewed the end of a toxic relationship not as a failure, but as an act of self-respect? Clinging to what harms you doesn't make you loyal, it makes you stuck. True loyalty begins with yourself. You owe it to your own soul to walk away from what no longer serves you. Think of the time and energy you could reclaim by letting go. Time to focus on friendships that uplift you, energy to pour into personal growth, and space to rediscover who you are outside the weight of negativity. And let's not forget this. Staying in a toxic relationship not only affects you, it affects the people around you. Your friends, your family, your loved ones. They feel the ripple effects of your unhappiness. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, what affects the hive affects the bee. By prioritizing your peace, you're not just freeing yourself, you're creating a healthier, more positive space for everyone connected to you. So, ask yourself, what is the cost of staying? Not just in terms of time, but in terms of your emotional freedom, your mental clarity, your potential. And then ask yourself, what could you gain by letting go? Picture this: a bird tethered to a post, unable to fly. It might be safe from the unknown dangers of the sky, but it's also deprived of the joy of soaring. You are that bird. The tether is the toxic relationship you're clinging to. Freedom might feel uncertain, even scary, but it's the only way to reach the heights you were meant for. The Stoics would urge you to choose courage over fear, to recognize that the discomfort of letting go is temporary, but the cost of clinging is lifelong. You don't have to stay tied to something that drains you. The moment you let go, you reclaim your power, your purpose, and your peace. Remember, you are not obligated to carry the weight of someone else's toxicity. As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to walk away. Be brave enough to choose yourself. Because the greatest gift you can give to the world and to yourself is a life lived in harmony with your true nature, unburdened by the chains of negativity. Number 3. Recognizing the signs of toxicity. How do you recognize when a relationship has turned toxic? How do you distinguish between a bond that challenges you in healthy ways and one that slowly erodes your spirit? The Stoics would tell you that clarity begins with honest self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone. Recognizing toxicity in relationships is about seeking the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Let's start with the signs. Toxic relationships don't announce themselves with bold banners. They creep in subtly. A critical comment here, a guilt-inducing behavior there. Over time, they grow into patterns that chip away at your sense of self. One of the most telling signs is constant criticism. If someone in your life repeatedly points out your flaws or belittles your accomplishments, they're not helping you grow, they're tearing you down. Constructive feedback uplifts, destructive criticism diminishes. Epictetus taught that we should associate with those who will make a better man of you. Ask yourself, is this person pushing me to become better, or are they keeping me trapped in self-doubt? Another clear sign is a lack of support. Healthy relationships are a source of encouragement, a safe haven where you can share your dreams and challenges without fear of judgment. But if a friend, partner, or family member dismisses your goals or minimizes your feelings, that's a red flag. Life is hard enough without carrying the weight of someone who refuses to stand beside you. As Seneca put it, associate with those who are likely to improve you. If someone consistently drains your energy instead of replenishing it, they're not improving you, they're holding you back. Then there's the emotional toll. Toxic relationships often leave you feeling exhausted or anxious. You might find yourself dreading interactions, walking on eggshells, or replaying conversations in your mind, searching for ways you could have avoided conflict. This is what we call emotional drain. Imagine spending hours with someone and leaving their presence feeling worse than when you arrived. That's a clear sign something isn't right. The Stoics valued balance and tranquility above all else. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to guard his peace, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If a relationship consistently disturbs your inner peace, it's time to reevaluate its place in your life. A particularly harmful aspect of toxic relationships is manipulation. This can take many forms: guilt tripping, gaslighting, or attempts to control your actions and emotions. Manipulation erodes your autonomy, leaving you questioning your own judgment. It's the antithesis of a healthy relationship, which should empower you to make your own choices. The Stoics believed in self-governance, the ability to rule your own mind and heart. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If someone is trying to master you, to bend your will to theirs, they're not a companion, they're a threat to your freedom. Recognizing these signs is not always easy. It requires courage to face the truth about someone you care for. But the Stoics remind us that avoidance only delays the inevitable. As Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare that things are difficult." Dare to look honestly at the relationships in your life. Ask yourself tough questions. Do I feel supported or stifled? Does this person inspire me or diminish me? Am I thriving or merely surviving? Here's another critical point. Recognizing toxicity isn't about labeling someone as bad or evil. The Stoics believed in compassion and understanding. Perhaps the person in question is struggling with their own issues, projecting their pain onto you. But that doesn't mean you have to endure it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. You can acknowledge their struggles without allowing them to harm you. The first step toward reclaiming your peace is recognizing the signs of toxicity. Think of it as waking up from a fog. Once you see things clearly, you can begin to make decisions that align with your values and protect your well-being. The Stoics would urge you not to delay this process. Every moment spent in a toxic relationship is a moment taken from your own growth and happiness. Recognizing the signs is the beginning of liberation. It's the moment you decide that your peace, your happiness, and your growth are worth more than someone else's negativity. It's the moment you reclaim your power and step into the life you truly deserve. Number 4, the power of silent cutoffs. Let's talk about silence, the kind of silence that transforms your life. It's not weakness, it's not avoidance, it's power. Silent cutoffs are an act of reclaiming control, of choosing your peace over chaos and your growth over stagnation. They are not loud, dramatic exits. They are quiet declarations of self-respect, a choice to walk away without a need for validation or approval. The Stoics valued the concept of tranquility above all. They believed that protecting your inner peace was one of the highest forms of wisdom. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to convince others that your decision to walk away is justified. Silent cutoffs allow you to prioritize your mental and emotional health without seeking permission from the world. Why silence, though? Why not confront the person and have a dramatic, cathartic goodbye? Because silence is deliberate. Silence is intentional. When you choose to cut someone off without engaging in endless arguments or emotional showdowns, you are showing restraint, a Stoic virtue. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." Silence speaks volumes about your character. It says, "I value my peace over your chaos. I choose to rise above this situation without dragging it into conflict." Now, some people might mistake your silence for passivity, but the truth is, silent cutoffs require immense strength. Think about it. The easy path is reacting, giving in to the drama, explaining yourself over and over again, hoping the other person will finally understand. But what happens when they don't? What happens when your words fall on deaf ears and the cycle of toxicity repeats itself? Silent cutoffs break that cycle. They remove the fuel that keeps the fire of conflict burning. When you walk away silently, you reclaim your narrative. You no longer allow the toxic person to dictate how you feel or how you respond. You take back your power, not through aggression, but through grace. Seneca said it best. "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." Silent cutoffs teach you to crave less. Less drama, less validation, less energy spent on relationships that do not serve you. Instead, you focus on what truly matters: your growth, your happiness, and your peace. Here's another reason silence is powerful. It creates space. Space for reflection, space for healing, and space for new, healthier relationships to enter your life. The Stoics believed that nature abhors a vacuum. When you remove toxicity from your life, you create room for positivity to flow in. Imagine redirecting the energy you once spent on arguments, tension, and hurt into something productive: your career, your passions, your well-being. Silent cutoffs aren't just about removing negativity. They're about making space for the life you deserve. How do you implement silent cutoffs effectively? It starts with setting boundaries, internally first. Decide what you will and will not tolerate in your life. Be clear with yourself about why this person no longer aligns with your values. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Once you've made that decision, You don't need to announce it to the world. You simply start acting in alignment with your choice. Reduce your interactions with the person. There's no need for a dramatic exit or a long explanation. Gradually, step back. Respond less. Engage less. Let the relationship fade naturally. If they reach out, you don't have to respond immediately or at all. If you do choose to respond, keep it brief and neutral. Silence doesn't mean you're cold or cruel. It means you're prioritizing your peace. Most importantly, focus on yourself during this time. Silent cutoffs are not just about removing someone from your life. They're about redirecting your energy inward. Invest in self-care. Explore activities that bring you joy. Reconnect with your passions. When you focus on your own growth, the absence of the toxic relationship becomes less noticeable, and your newfound peace becomes more fulfilling. But what about the guilt? Many people struggle with guilt when they cut someone off silently. They worry about hurting the other person, about being misunderstood, about appearing heartless. Here's the truth: you are not responsible for someone else's feelings. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You cannot control how others perceive your actions, but you can control whether those perceptions hold you back. Silent cutoffs are not about revenge or proving a point. They are about reclaiming your power in the most dignified way possible. Number 5. The benefits of cutting off toxic relationships. When you cut off toxic relationships, you are not just letting go of negativity. You are making space for something far greater: your happiness, your growth, and your inner peace. Let's reflect for a moment. Imagine standing in a garden overrun with weeds. No matter how much you water the flowers or try to nurture them, those weeds will choke them, steal their nutrients, and leave them struggling to bloom. Toxic relationships are the weeds of your life. Cutting them away isn't cruelty, it's necessity. The Stoics understood this concept well. They taught us to guard our inner world fiercely, to weed out anything that disturbs our tranquility. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And what influences our thoughts more than the people we surround ourselves with? When you remove the sources of negativity, you are free to cultivate a life rooted in joy and purpose. Let's break down the benefits of cutting off toxic relationships, benefits that ripple through every area of your life. 1. Increased happiness and inner peace. Imagine the weight of constant criticism, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion suddenly lifted off your shoulders. That's what happens when you let go of a toxic relationship. You create space for joy to return to your life. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Toxic relationships keep you trapped in imagined fears: fear of confrontation, fear of loneliness, fear of change. But once you cut them off, you'll realize that the suffering was never as permanent as you thought. With the negativity gone, you'll find yourself laughing more, smiling more, and rediscovering what it means to simply be at peace. 2. Energy for personal growth. Toxic relationships drain your emotional and mental energy, leaving little for your own growth and self-improvement. But when you remove those toxic ties, you reclaim that energy. Suddenly, you have the mental bandwidth to pursue your passions, set goals, and strive for the life you've always wanted. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Cutting off toxicity is an act of self-mastery. It's a declaration that you will no longer let others dictate how you spend your time, energy, and emotions. 3. Healthier relationships. When you let go of toxic people, You make room for healthier connections to flourish. The Stoics believed in the importance of surrounding oneself with virtuous individuals. They knew that the people in your life either raise you up or pull you down. Once you step away from relationships that drain you, you'll find yourself naturally attracting people who uplift and inspire you. These healthier relationships are built on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine care. They remind you of what true connection feels like, something that toxic relationships can never provide. 4. Enhanced self-esteem. Every toxic relationship chips away at your self-worth. Whether it's through constant criticism, manipulation, or neglect, these relationships send a harmful message that you are not enough. But the moment you cut them off, you take the first step toward rebuilding your self-esteem. You send yourself a powerful message: I deserve better. And as you distance yourself from negativity, you'll start to believe it. You'll recognize your own worth and refuse to settle for anything less than respect and kindness in your relationships. 5. Freedom to embrace change. Change is scary, but it's also where growth happens. The Stoics viewed change not as a threat, but as an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change." Cutting off a toxic relationship is a change that can feel overwhelming at first, but it's also a chance to redefine your life. You'll find freedom in the unknown, a fresh start that allows you to build a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. 6. Clarity of purpose. Toxic relationships cloud your judgment. They fill your mind with doubt, confusion, and distractions. But when you remove those influences, clarity returns. You can focus on what truly matters: your goals, your values, your purpose. The noise fades, and in its place, you find the stillness to listen to your inner voice. As Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." By cutting off toxic ties, you're choosing to associate with a better version of yourself. 7. A more resilient you. Lastly, cutting off toxic relationships builds resilience. It's not easy to walk away from someone, especially when you've invested time, energy, and emotion into that relationship. But doing so teaches you strength. It reminds you that you have the power to choose what and who you allow. Number 6. Practical steps to implement silent cutoffs. Cutting off toxic relationships silently is not about avoidance or escapism. It's about prioritizing your peace and reclaiming control over your life. Silence is a form of action, a deliberate choice that speaks volumes without saying a word. The Stoics believed in the power of actions over words. Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And that's exactly what a silent cutoff does. It embodies your philosophy of self-respect, inner peace, and purposeful living. So how do you implement a silent cutoff effectively? Let's delve into actionable steps rooted in wisdom and practicality. 1. Reflect on your relationships. The first step in any significant change is self-awareness. Take time to reflect on the relationships in your life. Ask yourself, who uplifts me? Who drains me? Who respects my boundaries? And who constantly crosses them? The Stoics taught us the importance of living with intention. Marcus Aurelius urged, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If a relationship consistently clouds your mind with negativity, it's time to consider whether it aligns with the person you're striving to become. Reflection allows you to identify the people who add value to your life and those who detract from it. 2. Establish boundaries. without drama. Once you've identified the toxic relationship, set clear boundaries. Boundaries are not about punishing the other person, they're about protecting yourself. Start small. Reduce the time you spend with them. Avoid sharing sensitive information. Politely decline invitations or conversations that drain you. You don't need to make a grand announcement about these changes. Simply act. The Stoics believed in leading by example rather than argument. Let your actions demonstrate your commitment to your well-being. 3. Gradually limit interaction. A silent cutoff doesn't have to be abrupt. Gradually reduce your interactions with the person. Instead of long, drawn-out conversations, keep things brief and neutral. If they call or message you, respond with restraint, or not at all. Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your measured, intentional response, or lack thereof, is a reflection of your resolve. Limiting interaction isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about preserving your energy for the relationships and activities that truly matter. 4th, redirect your focus to self-care. As you pull away from toxicity, redirect that energy inward. Invest in activities that bring you joy, peace, and fulfillment. This could mean spending time with supportive friends, pursuing a hobby, or simply taking moments to rest and recharge. The Stoics emphasized the importance of nurturing the inner self. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." Focus on cultivating a rich inner life rather than craving validation from toxic relationships. Self-care is not selfish, it's essential. It's the foundation of a healthy, balanced life, free from the chaos others may try to impose on you. 5. Embrace silence as a statement. In today's world, where confrontations and dramatic exits are often glorified, silence can feel counterintuitive. But silence is a profound statement. It says, "I value my peace over your chaos." You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. The Stoics practiced what is known as quiet strength. They believed in responding, not reacting. By staying silent, you demonstrate that you've risen above the need for validation or revenge. You've chosen to let your actions rather than your words define your priorities. 6. Stay firm and detached. When you cut someone off silently, they might test your resolve. They may reach out, question your actions, or even try to guilt you into staying connected. This is where Stoic detachment becomes crucial. Remember, you are not responsible for their feelings or reactions. As Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Don't allow their attempts to pull you back into a cycle of toxicity. Stay firm, keep your responses short and polite, and always prioritize your peace. 7. Seek support where it's needed. While silent cutoffs are personal decisions, that doesn't mean you have to go through them alone. Surround yourself with people who understand your journey and can provide encouragement. Talk to friends or family who uplift you, or even seek professional guidance if needed. The Stoics believed in the power of community and mutual support. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes." Lean on those who share your vision of a positive and empowering life. 8. Celebrate small victories. Every step you take toward cutting off toxicity is a victory. Celebrate those moments. Whether it's declining an unnecessary call or realizing you feel lighter after distancing yourself, acknowledge the progress you're making. This journey isn't just about removing negativity, it's about creating space for positivity to thrive. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be, unburdened by the weight of toxic relationships. Cutting off a toxic relationship silently is a courageous act of self-preservation. It's not about revenge or resentment. It's about reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your life. As you implement these steps, keep the words of Marcus Aurelius close to heart. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence is not weakness. It's strength in its purest form. It's a quiet declaration that you deserve a life free from the chains of toxicity, a life where you can thrive, grow, and find true peace. So take these steps with confidence, knowing that every action you take is a step closer to the life you deserve. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you and you're ready to take control of your peace and elevate your life, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on the empowering content we've got coming your way. Make sure to turn on post notifications so you're the first to know when we drop new insights to help you grow and thrive. And we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on silent cutoffs? Have you ever had to let go of a toxic relationship, and how did it transform your life? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else on their journey. Remember, every step you take toward reclaiming your peace is worth celebrating. Stay strong, stay focused, and we'll see you in the next video.